Feeling overwhelmed trying to do it all yourself? You're not alone, Mama. Today, delegation expert Kate Linehan is here to help us understand the power of letting go so you can step into your true CEO role at work and at home. Kate shares practical insights on why burnout isn't a badge of honor and how to finally ditch it, simple strategies for hiring the right help without guilt, how to delegate confidently even when you're scared of letting go. Ready to reclaim your time, reduce burnout, and finally focus on what matters most? This episode's it for you. Let's dive in. Hey mama, welcome to Career Growth for Working Moms. If you're stuck in a job that doesn't fit or burning out trying to do it all, you're in the right place. I'm Shannon, a career coach and fellow working mom. Here, you'll get simple career strategies and strength-based leadership tips to help you grow with clarity and confidence. So grab your coffee or reheat it for the third time and let's do this. Hello and welcome. I'm so excited to have Kate Linehan with me today. Kate is a hiring and delegation expert who helps overwhelmed solopreneurs and small business owners step fully into their CEO role by learning how to hire, train, and delegate effectively. With over 10 years in online business, Kate has supported over 400 small business owners, including working with names like Amy Porterfield and Sue B. Zimmerman, and has matched over 200 VA client pairs to create long-term success. Her mission is simple: to help high-achieving women reclaim their time, reduce burnout, and focus on what truly drives their growth without feeling guilty for letting go. Kate, welcome to the show. I'm so excited for this conversation today.
Hi, Shannon. I'm so excited for this conversation too. I first and foremost am a mom. And so, listen, talking to moms is my jam. I have been there.
Yes, yes. So, okay, one of your big focus is delegation. So, what led you to that? What was the missing links that you've seen with businesses as women try to grow their businesses and their careers?
Uh, so much, right? Like, how much time do you have? I think like the biggest thing is we as women have been conditioned to wear burnout like a badge of honor. And with that, right, we've started our businesses to serve others, to create an impact, to do something that we're passionate about. But when we start those businesses, what we so often forget is we will also have to be responsible for the tech and the admin and the invoicing and the DMs and the client experience and all of these other pieces. And that leads us to burnout because we want to fill our time with the thing we're really good at and the thing we are uniquely equipped for. But
Right.
we get stuck in the weeds just keeping the business afloat. And so watching that happen and watching the growth that women so want to see and so want to I've lost my word, but so want to inflict that change, right? They want to create that
Right.
impact and they're not able to because they cannot physically or emotionally or mentally do it all themselves.
Yes, yes. And I can see that because I mean, I know for me, I've experienced that with having to be the one that's doing all of the behind the scenes that I then don't get the time to do the thing I'm most passionate about.
Right.
And that's, whether it be podcasting, coaching women like that, I've seen that in my life. And so I know our listeners are going, raising their hands going, yes, that is me.
Right. Or it starts to kind of taint your time with your family as
Yes.
intentional and boundaried as you want to be with family time and quality time. It's sort of like a just really, I just have to do this one quick thing real quick,
Right.
like real quick. And then it's a Saturday and then it's a Sunday and then you're doing it at soccer game sidelines. And like it infiltrates everything.
It really does. So that's where you come in and you help people hire virtual assistants.
Mhm.
And so what does that process look like?
Oh, um, it is my favorite thing to talk about. And I take people through so much more than just hiring. The very, very first thing I do when I start working with a client is we take a comprehensive look at everything you're spending time on. Every task you're doing, every little tiny checkbox or thing you're crossing out on your list, we start there. And once we brain dump all of that, we then really rate it for efficacy and energy. How much do you hate it? How much do you love it?
Mhm.
And how good are you at it? Or are you just doing it because you can do it, right? Like just because you
Right.
can do it doesn't mean you should be doing it.
That's
Those
true.
are two very like distinct things that I really step into first. Now, once we have that list put together, then we're able to have a clear and honest view of what needs to be delegated most urgently. Because a lot of times, the mistakes that I've seen made are like, I need to hire somebody to edit my podcast. But really, what you need is somebody who is responding to leads in your inbox and who is getting back to vendors or clients or potential collaborators and helping you schedule and helping you manage your calendar. And so, when we have a very unbiased view of everything you work on day to day, we're able to better assess what need you have to hire for. And then we really begin the work of a clear job description, what success is going to look like. And from there, we move into the interviewing, the vetting. And then the other part that my clients are always surprised at is how comprehensive the onboarding and training process happens because everyone knows about the hiring. Everybody knows
Mhm.
about the middle piece.
Right.
And so often people are like, oh, I hired a VA. Everything's going to be fixed now. And they're like, oh, this VA is going to come in and they think they're going to hand off all the chaos. But then they become frustrated because
Right.
onboarding and training is where the magic really happens, where you have to put in the time initially, the first 30 to 45 days to get to know each other's communication preferences and management
Mhm.
styles. And you're stepping into leadership often for the first time. And that is a learning curve for you, managing another person, trusting that they're going to be able to do it as well as you can do it. Don't worry, I heard it. I'm getting it. Listen,
I was gonna go there.
listen, like, what if they don't do it as well as I do? Well, but what if they end up doing it better? What if they do end up doing it more efficiently, or they
Mhm.
help streamline it, or they make it more consistent so your clients get a better result? Like,
Right.
all of those little micro shifts are what allow a relationship to be successful.
Yeah. I love that. Because I mean, what do you say to the person who is fearful? I mean, because I have a tendency to sometimes be a little bit of a control freak. I've let go a lot of that, but like, what do you say to the mom that's like, I'm scared to do that because I don't want, this is my I've put all my eggs into this career,
Mhm.
and now you want me to help trust this person I've never really met before. So how do you deal with that?
It's such a valid question, right? Like I just want to validate and acknowledge how real that feeling is. This business, this career is your baby. It is your blood, sweat, and tears. It is your family away from your family, all of these things, right?
Mhm.
And so there's a couple of things that I typically say to this. The first is that when we put a job description together, we are never just looking for a person who can do the job. We are looking for somebody who, yes, has the skills, but also is a person, a human being who you get along with, who you would enjoy sitting across from a table and having coffee with, who is going to represent the characteristics and the core values of your business the same way that you do. And so that's another piece of the hiring process that is layered in that I work with my clients on, where we like kind of we put these little magic breadcrumbs in the job description and in the interview process and in the kind of follow-up process that we do after the interview to help us really gauge, is this person who they say they are on paper, and
Mhm.
how will they truly fit, not only from a skill set perspective but from a personality perspective
Mhm.
into my business, because that trust building really early on through the job description, the vetting, the interviewing, all makes a difference and helps you see who this person is before you offer them the job.
Right. That makes sense. I love that. And so what happens, like you mentioned before, that a lot of times when you're bringing on people that it's their first time to manage someone. So what kind of mindset work do you use with them, or do you help them with, just in that process of just like them stepping into their true leadership role?
Um, the shortest answer is I have templates that I give to my clients that help really model a simple but effective process. So one of the first templates I have is a meeting agenda, and it's like 4 bullet points, and it's like, this is what we're covering, this is why we're covering it, and this is the ultimate outcome. Another template I have that really helps, especially early on when you're stepping into leadership, is a task delegation template. And so this template is like okay, we need to make sure we're on the same exact page, so that Shannon, if you said to me, Kate, I want you to go post this YouTube video on my YouTube channel, that might mean something wildly different to me than it means to you. And
Right.
so equipping somebody with not only the knowledge, but the why behind their task helps them to become more invested in the task, and also helps to make sure that there's as little miscommunication as possible. So we're saying, okay, we're going to post our weekly Monday YouTube video on YouTube. We need to make sure there's a description included, the links are there. We are tagging it appropriately. We've got a thumbnail photo, and the resources I need to be able to complete this are access to the YouTube channel, access to ChatGPT to help me write the description. I need approval from Shannon on the write up. And the end goal is that we get it up by noon on Monday. Then
Yes.
it's not like, oh, well, I thought you said I had until Wednesday to get it up. And you're not like, right. So it
Right.
helps to reduce that friction and frustration of assumptions, of expectations that often happen so early in a relationship that then ends up dooming the relationship
Right.
truly.
Yeah, I can see that because if I say just like YouTube, like you just use that example, it could mean two different things to each of us. We're each going to have our own set of expectations on what that means. And so even asking like, okay, this is what I'm expecting, da 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 da. How do you see that? Like, how are you like seeing that as the worker, like, okay, to me, I hear you say this is what needs to be done, and make sure, so it's that communication, because I think that builds that trust, like you said, right from the very beginning. So I love that. I love that.
Exactly. And it's funny because I was working with a client earlier this week, and we were onboarding her VA, and she's like, I'm not going to use all these. I have 20 active clients right now, and oop, and I'm not going to have the time to sit down and fill this out. And I said, that's okay. I was like, but this is for your knowledge, and you can give it to the new VA and have them fill it out. They're just asking you the questions on your weekly meeting so that it's verbalized, it's communicated, it's documented, and you don't have to physically do anything with it, but it's a tool to
Right.
help really streamline things.
Right. I've heard that as you're starting your business and you're putting together maybe a program or how you do a system, that it's good to like record yourself talking through what you're doing, so that when you get to the point that you do have a VA, that it's already there and they see your thought process and they can watch that. Is that something that you've also learned or advised to
I
do?
love that. I do it all the time for my clients when I'm working with them too, especially during the when we're vetting different candidates in the interview process. I will literally pull up my desktop and I record and I talk through why I've chosen a certain candidate or shortlisted a certain candidate, because exactly that. You hear my thought process, you see what I'm looking at, you can start to understand where my brain is, where your brain might want to be. I have the tool that I like for that is called Loom, Loom.
Mhm.
I like I,
Yes.
I make an exhaustive amount of Loom because I did it when I was a coach for a client of mine that I was an employee for, and I do it now for my clients because it's just invaluable. And so, yes, to answer your question, and I also give my clients an SOP index. It's just a spreadsheet so that when they record those videos, as they're doing the task, they have somewhere to house those
That's a great idea.
links to be able to then easily pull from and just title and then hand it off to the VA when they do hire a VA.
That's the extra step that I didn't think about. But yes, I love that. I love that. I also used the tool Scribe before. Have you
Uh-huh.
used that one? So
I've not
that
used it, but I've heard of it.
yeah, so that's another tool that I have used as well to just record. But I think Loom, especially when it comes to like visual stuff of like website design or and things like that, I think for me that's better because again, there's a lot more of thought process that goes into that, and I think that helps more than just like here, click here, this is what you'll see, then save. Like that's more of a technical thing
Mhm.
versus Loom can get you where you where it's more it's for more visual in my opinion. So
And immersive, right? So
yeah,
then like the person again getting immersed in your business and finding somebody who's not just going to click those buttons. They're like, "Oh, that's the goal of that? Okay, well, how could we improve that process?" Or how could, and they can start to, because you're hiring somebody to be an expert in an area where you are not an expert.
right.
Ultimately is the goal, whether that's admin, whether that's tech, whether that's design, social, whatever it is. You're hiring somebody because you know enough to be dangerous, but it's also not your wheelhouse. So you're going to hand off how you've done it. And their job as they become immersed in the business is to improve upon that process or outcome or goal or whatever it is.
Yep, and still sound like you.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Still
That's
be
like
true to
the
who
creme
you
de la creme,
authentically
right?
are, right? So, what would be what's the return on investment for of effective delegation? How does it pay off in maybe career growth or promotions, personal well-being?
And that's such a nuanced question, and of course it's variable, right?
Right.
Not to sound all, vague, but I do always say that your VA is an investment that should ultimately pay for itself. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're a coach and you charge $100 an hour, okay? And you are spending 5 hours a week in your inbox. So that's 5 1 hour slots. Let's say four, okay, where you're not able to coach another person. You're not able to have another client on your calendar. So if you outsource your inbox for $25 an hour for 5 hours a week,
Mhm.
and that maths to what? $100 for the week.
Mhm.
And you could potentially take on four new clients for $400 a week. Well,
Yeah,
there
the
you
math.
go, right? Like
Right.
that's the maths there.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's ultimately the goal. 25, $30 an hour, whether it's social and social takes you 3 hours and it takes the expert 1 hour. Like there's so many different applications of how the investment should ultimately pay for itself. And
Mhm.
really the shortest answer after I've said all of that is that it should free you up to do more networking or do more sales calls or actually coach more people and close more clients, perhaps if you're client based,
Right.
service based, not product based. But
Yeah, more income producing activities that are bringing you more income and you're
exactly,
paying a little bit here to do that, you know. It's
yes.
like there was an author I read and he said he doesn't he like laundry to him is a task that he doesn't want to be
Mhm.
tasked with because that's not producing more money for him. So he would rather pay $17 an hour for someone to come in and do his laundry and cook and clean for, you know, like he
Mhm.
has that because to him that's better because he's out there making more money. And I'm like, that makes so much more sense when you think about it. You have to spend a little bit, but you're going to go get out there and get to do those activities that are going to bring you even more money.
Well, and then you're getting to spend that time in staying in your own zone of genius
Yes.
and not context switching or procrastinating or being overwhelmed because you don't want to do the other thing over here.
Right. Or even just being mom.
That
Going to the
too.
soccer game and turning off your phone,
That too. Like, and that's a real thing too. Or just dealing with the teenagers and their attitudes and decompressing, finding an activity for you to do and go to yoga or do something that brings you peace. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Well, this has been so wonderful. Kate, what's the best place for the listeners to connect with you?
Instagram is my platform of choice. I have some fun and silly and informative videos over there, as we all do, I'm sure. But I'm on Instagram at Rise Hire Consulting, and it's hire HIRE. It's a little play on words. That's over on Instagram. So come give me a follow, come give me a like, whatever it is. Like, but I love to connect with people.
Awesome. Okay, so before we wrap up, I always love to leave my listeners with one powerful key takeaway that they can implement today. So, what is one mindset shift or practical tool that the career moms listening can start today to delegate more confidently, either at work or home?
Asking for help is a superpower. Asking for help is self-care. It is brave, regardless of, right? Like this, our village as a society has all but disappeared and dried up. And so reaching out and asking for help is self-care in such a pure form.
Yes, yes, and not to feel bad about needing help. Release that.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Kate, for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Shannon. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Working Mama, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with a friend who's stuck in her career but doesn't want to sacrifice her family to grow? Also, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It seriously lights me up to know this show is helping you navigate burnout, find clarity, and lead with confidence. All right, time to shut down my laptop and pretend I'm not hiding from folding that laundry. I'll meet you back here soon for another episode of Career Growth for Working Moms. You've got this.